let me say this. The U.S. government approved the ETFs, right? It's convenient for the U.S. government that a lot of Bitcoin sits in ETFs in big, well-known financial institutions, right? Because if a president were to say, you know what, the American dollar is falling and gold and Bitcoin are the reason that that's falling, and the measures, and it's very obvious that it's falling, we're going to do a 6102. And guess what? We're going to call up every big ETF and say, you need to send that Bitcoin to us because it's going to be part of our strategic reserve. We'll pay you cash, whatever the dollar value is right today, and you send that cash out to all of your holders. And, we now own that Bitcoin. They do not. And of course, the next day, Bitcoin would go up 10x.
BitcoinZella stands out with its simplicity and clarity. We've crafted an experience that anyone can dive into, whether you're a crypto expert or just a new to the crypto world. Now, guess who keeps his eye on us? The author of best-selling book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. And we want to take this opportunity and thank all the people who trusted us, and we read every comment. And the best part, it's free. Subscribing now means you will get all new information for free. Don't just follow the trends, stay ahead of them. Subscribe to BitcoinZella today and enjoy the new edge. Lawrence Lepard, Managing Partner, Equity Management Associates, discusses the national debt crisis, inflation, possible price suppression of hard assets, and the contrasting roles of gold and Bitcoin as sound money.
But the point is that's a 6102 in the Bitcoin world, and that's I've got some of those ETFs in my IRA accounts. At brokerage firms, I can't go buy native Bitcoin and get the coins with those accounts. But other Bitcoin that I have under my own control or control of other parties because I have multi-sig and all kinds of security stuff. But the point is, there's having Bitcoin outside of the ETF world, I think is an important part of the risk mitigation strategy because, if and when the dollar gets in a lot of trouble and these fiat currencies really are failing, and I'm thinking 3 or 4 moves out, I don't think that what I described about, the government saying, hey, we got to have this Bitcoin and we need it as a strategic reserve. I don't think that's an impossible thing. I think it's actually possible. I think on the next ramp, I think we're somewhere short of what I call the next thing I call the big print. Okay, so the next big print is going to come when something breaks, maybe the bond market, maybe the stock market, whatever it is, and the government realizes that they've got to, or else everything's going to collapse. That's coming. Outside date on that is 18 months. Inside date on that's tomorrow. Medium date on that, 6 months maybe, 6 to 9 months. I think when that occurs, Bitcoin will go and exceed the power law. We'll get a 2 standard deviation move above, and we'll pump to 300, 350. I think gold will probably run to, now I'm beginning to think 4,000 or 5,000. It's kind of, it's getting closer to 3, right? I used to say I'd run to 3. Now 3's too low. I think silver will probably run to, 75 to 100. Okay. Following that, my suspicion is there's a possibility that we get such severe deflation that even in light of the big print, everything still kind of quote unquote collapses a la 29, and there'll be an enormous scramble for liquidity. And the Fed will do everything it can to provide liquidity, but absent literally sending out checks in the form of UBI to everybody, the economy will be collapsing. And this is kind of David Hunter's scenario too. And in that case, the Bitcoin will probably correct from that 200 or 300 peak back down to 85 or 100, and gold will have a serious correction too, because we'll have a really deflationary impulse. I think then the next move is you'll get quote unquote the bigger print, right? Okay, the economy is totally collapsing. Nobody has any money. The prices of everything are falling. We're literally going to do UBI where we're going to send every family a check for $50,000 to kind of keep things going. And to me, that one will be the last one. And at that point in time, Bitcoin will go to 1 million, gold will go to, 20, 30, 40,000, and effectively the currency will fail. And there'll have to be some kind of political meeting of the minds to solve the problem. And I kind of see the time frame on that as probably 2027, maybe as late as 2030, 2031. If you look at this as the fourth turning and you look at the average length of fourth turnings, you start at 2008, which is what I do, and you add the average length, you kind of get into the late 2020 period, like 27, 8, 9 kind of period, 2028.
I see, yeah. So in a sense, you're saying we're kind of...
You know what I mean?
American computer scientist Nick Szabo overtook cryptographer Len Sassaman as the frontrunner on Polymarket to be identified as Satoshi Nakamoto in HBO's upcoming documentary that claims to reveal Bitcoin's creator. Polymarket bettors have put 27.9% odds on Szabo, inventor of the failed crypto network BitGold, as the one HBO's Money Electric. The Bitcoin mystery will identify as Bitcoin's pseudonymous creator, followed by Sassaman at 14% and Blockstream CEO Adam Back at 4.3%. Sassaman initially led with as high as 68% odds shortly after the betting platform opened the market on October 4. Those odds dropped when the documentary's producer, Colin Hoback, told CNN on October 7 that he confronted the person he thinks is the real Satoshi Nakamoto, which would rule out Sassaman because he died in 2011. We make a strong case, and I think the reaction is in some ways more telling than even the evidence itself. It's important for the public to have a sense of who Satoshi might be, particularly if they're still involved, Hoback added. Sassaman's widow, Meredith Patterson, also told DL News on October 8 that HBO did not approach her for the documentary. Hoback's claimed confrontation with his Nakamoto pick would also rule out Hal Finney, an American software developer who received the first Bitcoin transaction from Nakamoto and passed away in 2014. Finney has 2.7% odds on Polymarket. Jailed software programmer Paul LaRousse has 2.8% odds, while billionaire Elon Musk, former Nakamoto claimant Craig Wright, and other once-deemed Satoshi historian Nakamoto and David Kleiman have slimmer odds. Polymarket's other/multiple option currently boasts the highest odds at 37%. BitGold, the network from Polymarket's new Nakamoto frontrunner Szabo, never launched. Still, it was widely considered a precursor and influence to Bitcoin, as it contained a peer-to-peer network, proof-of-work mining and cryptography concepts that were later built on Bitcoin. The links have led many to believe Szabo is Nakamoto, but he has refuted claims that he invented Bitcoin. Hoback confirmed in an October 5X post that his documentary will land on a specific name, a possible giveaway that he thinks Bitcoin was launched by one person.
I mean, at some point, I think if absent, intelligent and, I mean, by the way, at any point in time, all of this could be stopped by a monetary reset and responsible behavior out of Washington, D.C. But I think absent a crisis, I just don't see how that gets done. I don't think that happens. So I think, sadly, we're going to have to drive toward a crisis. And I think the crisis will be, as I've described, a few years out. And then at that point in time, people will be so frustrated, so angry, so hurt, so broke that a politician who stands up and says, hey, you know what? The problem really here is we don't have sound money and we've got to go to a sound money standard. Here's what it's going to look like. Here's how it's going to be. And we're going to reset and start over.
Bitcoin has been unable to sustain levels above $66,000 since July 31, despite achieving a 5.2% gain between October 3 and October 7. Some analysts assert that Bitcoin benefits from the ever-growing United States federal debt. However, while this correlation appears valid, it has minimal influence on short-term price trends. In reality, socio-political events seem to be the primary driver of Bitcoin's limited upside, considering that the global monetary base M2 has expanded from $104 trillion in June to $108 trillion in October, while Bitcoin was rejected multiple times at the $68,000 resistance level. This suggests that the rally to $64,000 is unlikely to be rooted in the U.S. fiscal situation. Additional evidence weakening this relationship is that the U.S. dollar has strengthened against other major global currencies, as measured by the DXY index, which rose to 102.5 on October 7, up from 100.4 on September 30. If investors fear that U.S. government debt is spiraling out of control, why are they cashing out of euros, British pounds, or Swiss francs? To understand why Bitcoin's price has consistently failed to sustain levels above $66,000 over the past 8 weeks, one should begin by analyzing what is limiting the improvement of investor sentiment. For example, uncertainties regarding global economic growth, the escalating Middle East conflict, and the impact of the upcoming November U.S. presidential elections are significant factors. The stronger-than-expected September U.S. jobs data, released on October 4, reduced the odds of an economic recession. However, it also caused the implied probability of a 0.5% interest rate cut to drop to 0%, down from 40% just 2 weeks earlier, according to the CME FedWatch tool. Higher interest rates for a longer period make investors more risk-averse, which is detrimental to Bitcoin's price. And do not forget to subscribe to Bitcoin Seller. The most important news will reach your inbox on a daily basis and for free. I do not know why you have not subscribed yet. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more daily updates. Remember, knowledge is power, and we're here to empower you on your financial journey. Until next time, happy investing.